Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey, before I kick off this video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my homeboy Buck. Happy birthday. Have a good one, man. Hey, football fans. Welcome to the Washington Command Center. So, we're in the Big D today, breaking out the black unis for the first time, playing the villain, the bad guys rolling in all black. Let's give these Dallas fans something to be scared of, something to hate in this new era of Washington football. Reignite this rivalry, make this an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And what better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the first, the real, the OG Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. While you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do, and it means a lot. Okay, so a lot of so-called fans are already writing us off for the season, talking crazy, talking about this rivalry not feeling the same, asking if it's even really still a rivalry at this point after the name change and just not winning, and or the fact that we haven't played each other in any meaningful games, in a while. All I gotta say to those folks is, if you can't get hyped up and full of hate for Dallas, we don't need you here. Find another fan base to be a half-ass fan for. This is Dallas we're talking about. I walk past a stranger in a Dallas jersey on the street, and I immediately look around for witnesses and consider jail time. I can't stand Dallas or Dallas fans. I hear those Dallas fans downplaying this rivalry too, acting like we aren't on their level anymore. But they're getting a reminder today. We're rolling into Dallas today. We're debuting the All Blacks with the camo trim to remind you we're the bad guys and we're ready for battle. And we're dressing the part so that you'll think about it anytime we break them out against you in the future. We're coming into your house to fuck shit up. And we'll leave y'all 2-2 just like we're going to be. You'll feel that hate again, and you'll put some extra disrespect on whatever corny little pet name y'all made up to diss us. But you'll know it's just because you're mad that we beat that ass. You'll blame it on Dak for being out after I've had to hear the Dallas fan base whispering about the team playing better without Dak all week. But they're sure going to blame the fact that he's not around on the loss. So, how can we leave Dallas 2-2? I think we just play them defensively just like we did Philly. If we get the same performance, the same defensive performance today, we win. We need to smother the run game just like we did with Philly. And we need to give Tony Pollard the extra attention coming out of the backfield that we gave Hurst. Now, Zeke is still a top-tier running back that's capable of getting, more yards, a little more than the line gives him in the first place. But Pollard, in my opinion, is a lot more dangerous at this point, rushing and most definitely receiving. I think if we can get the defense playing like last week, we can force Rush to beat us through the air. And he's no Jalen. I underestimated Jalen, but Rush is not in his league. And with Gallup coming back from injury, so he's going to be on a pitch count for the game, and probably a similar situation for Dalton Schultz, who's also returning, I think CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown are far easier to handle than A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were. Now, I've heard some content creators out there recommend that we should target Tyler Smith and try to pick on Dallas's rookie first-round offensive tackle. You know, with him already having some penalties and giving up a sack. But that might be a lot easier said than done. The dude is an explosive, powerful, nasty mauler. And I thought he'd be a weak point for us to exploit, you know, because of how raw he was coming out of Tulsa. But he already looks like he's taken a considerable step forward. And I think we might be better off picking on old man Jason Peters, who, you know, he still looks kind of solid. You know, he's putting out some decent play, but he is well removed from his prime, and we should be able to get him to relinquish his first couple of sacks of this season today, along with keeping him from influencing the run game at all. I mean, this guy's like 100 years old by now. Top that off, they got a banged up Connor McGovern. That gives us a bit of a break there too. So if we get similar performance out of Benjamin St-Juste, hopefully keeping him outside, you know, with William Jackson III being back, keep Ben St-Juste out there. Put William Jackson III on the other side and throw Kendall into the slot. You know, give him Wild Goose's job from last week. I think with all that, we should be able to contain the passing game pretty well. And I hope to see us keep all the speed on the field that we had last week. You know, I know we had injuries, but that group played great together. We should keep them out there. Shaka Toney, in my opinion, earned some more reps or some more snaps for this week with his performance last week. Keep Jamin Davis and as many DBs on the field as possible. No old man Bostic or Mayo. Like I said, swap Wild Goose out and give Castro-Fields a shot. Get that 6'1", 200-pound, 4.3 speed out there. Rookie or not, he thrives in zone, and he can come downhill for us in the run game. So, give him a shot. I think we can shut down the run just like we did with Philly. And that brings me back to what I was saying about Pollard. If Jamin can continue this week, you know, with his week-to-week improvement, along with, you know, Cam Curl being back, we should be able to limit Pollard as well. He's one of the... I'm the most worried about him. And I think we got the ammo to take care of him. You know, our defense started to show itself last week. We got to see a little bit of what we can be. And, you know, it was addition by subtraction. You know, some of our backups outplayed the guys that they were stepping in for. And against the best, one of the best offenses in the NFL, period. Definitely the best offense in the NFC East, you know, save ours. But we got to see that last week, and don't waste that intel. You know, don't throw in the same old players that have been floundering out there week after week. We saw with them gone, we played better. Let's keep it that way. Both Dallas and Philly's offenses run through the ground game, and we shut Philly down pretty well there. You know, 72 yards, you know, that's not much. They just had a lot more to offer us in the passing game than I expected. I don't think Rush does. I think we can hold them under 20 points if we get the same performance out of our defense. and that'll leave it all in our offense's hands. Then offensively, we just need to beat them with their own game. Not at their own game. Don't play their game. But beat them with what they do. Don't give them opportunities to blitz Parson and get sacks, or try to force turnovers with Diggs. We need to play like they've been playing offense. Strong run game, power run game, and play action. That's what Dallas has been doing best, and I think that's the best way to beat their defense too. Luckily for us, we're really good at that when we actually play that way. I mean, think about how this team beat Tom Brady with Taylor Heineke last year. Let's just do more of that. We need to run Gibby and James Smith-Williams right at them. Power run plays, beat them down early. Then, mix in quick passes out of the backfield with Gibby, JD, and Curtis, especially away from Parsons. Parsons is coming from one side, have the backs leak out the other side, get a quick pass out, make them run around a lot, get them tired. And then we need to get back to some of the stuff that we did to make the game easier for Heineke last year. Get back to the motion, the pre-snap eye candy. Put some stress on the defense, cause confusion, and make them show their hand. Do that pre-snap motion shows you what they're going to do, and it confuses them about what you're doing. Do that, some RPOs, sweeps, and build into the play action deep shots. Don't just come out the gate doing that. We can build it up and gouge them with big passes deep. But then we need to go back to grinding them and keep them guessing. Outside of the line playing badly, we've gotten away from mixing it up. Yes, analytically, you want to be passing a lot more than running the ball in the modern NFL. But I think Scott has gotten too excited about what an upgrade Carson is and what he can do with his arm, and he's stopped manufacturing easy yards for the offense. Dallas is seeing the same thing with Rush. At least, their media and their fan base are. They're doing a lot of things to make things easier with Rush in there that they weren't doing for Dak because of the talent gap. And they're seeing how well their offense can work, in doing that. So just because your quarterback is talented, it doesn't mean you should put it all on him. Or in Scott's case, call big play after big play. If Scott would call the game like he did for Taylor, like 80% of the time, and then mix in 20% of the stuff, taking advantage of Carson's arms, we'd look even better than we did in week one. We'd have a much more consistent offense. We'd get better production. And I think we really need to do that. Sorry, as a bit of a tangent there, but I think it would really help us out overall. But this week, I think we need to commit to the power run game early, work into the other stuff, and to do that, I think we need to make use of some different personnel. I mean, we saw swapping some guys in on defense last week because of injuries actually helped us out. Well, let's make some moves here on the offense side of the ball. First off, I think we need to make use of our own rookie from Tulsa, Chris Paul. Dallas got Tyler Smith in the first. We got Chris Paul, who I thought should have been a late day 2, early day 3 guy. We got an absolute steal in the 7th. And, I think it was as close, if not bigger, of a steal than the Packers got with Zach Tom in the fourth, who's out there starting, or Kansas City got with Darian Kennard in the fifth. I thought of Paul and Tyler Smith, I thought Chris Paul was clearly the more technically developed of the two coming out. And on top of that, Paul even shocked me quite a bit by besting Smith in the athletic testing. Everywhere except for the shuttle and a half inch on the vert, which is crazy because that's kind of what Smith hung his hat on, being this freak athlete. And hey, our guy out-tested him. And he looked more developed, more polished in his technique. So put him out there with Schweitzer and Roulier's injuries and Trey Turner's just awful play. I really think we need to put the Rook out there. We see how well his teammates doing out the gate for Dallas, and even though we got Sadiq, who's had some flashes of good play in his first two seasons, he's had nothing consistent and definitely nothing impressive so far this year. So I think Paul could be a pleasant surprise with the kind of athleticism he could bring. I mean, he's got a 9.47 RAS, and outside of that, I mean that could really help us out. Outside of that, to add some power to the run game and make Micah Parsons' job as hard as possible, I think we should tap into some historical Redskins, Joe Gibbs, even Scott's dad, Norv, into some of their personnel usage by playing John Bates in the backfield in an H-back role today. So he can lead block, so he can wham block, and put him back there to just follow Parsons, so he doesn't, if he's up at tight end, he can get tied up by other linemen, while he's trying to block. Keep him in the backfield like an H-back, and he could follow Parsons, Mix that in with more of the pre-snap motion and do the most we can to be confusing to Micah, so he doesn't see where the block's coming from, channel a little bit of that Darrell Young, John Riggins, high impact, fullback type blocking to give Micah Parsons another taste of that Leonard Fournette type treatment, and I think Bates definitely has that in him if the team would focus him there. Let him play H-back, fullback this game. It'd be a hell of a way, it would go a hell of a long way to slowing Parsons down, maybe even make him a bit gun shy, make him a bit cautious, slow him down, make him a bit easier to block in general. So, just an idea. But with Robinson not back yet and the offensive line playing horribly, I hope we see something more game specific than expecting a sub 200-pound J.D. McKissick to stand up to Parsons in pass pro. With if we use Bates to keep Parsons honest, in a combo of Gibby and Jonathan Williams pounding him up the middle, we could have Curtis and Gibby catching passes out of the backfield, and we could spread their defense out horizontally. Honestly, if we get Cole back today, or if we get him making his debut today, and Bates kind of on Parsons' duty, I wouldn't mind dressing all four tight ends. I'd throw Armani out there with Logan and Cole too, having three rebound machine contested catch guys on the field could pay off huge for beating pressure. let Carson tap back into that Zach Ertz, Travis Fulgham, Michael Pittman strat, with guys he can just chuck it up to when the line's folding around him, Go downhill with the run early. Use short passes and sweeps east to west to spread them out. Then come out in the second half and let Terry and Jahan eat deep off play action. This is what I was hyping up this offseason with all the different weapon types we have. We got a little glimpse of it in week 1. Now it's time to bring it all together and completely overload Dallas. Pure shock and awe. Of course, the game plan doesn't have to be exactly this. As bad as we looked, the last 2 weeks, I really feel like we have the potential to completely embarrass any opponent with all the talent we got. If we can bring everything together all at once with the right game plan. We need to accept that our line isn't going to get it together and adapt to it. We have the tools. If the run game stalls because of the line, stick to the quick passes and spread everything out. Take a look at, the Bengals from last year that got to the Super Bowl with a complete trash O-line. They might have a slightly better quarterback, maybe, arguably. But in my opinion, they honestly look very similar through their first 2 years, just with the injury in a different point. And they both have like a completely different team around them. Maybe the Bengals' top 3 weapons are slightly better than ours, which, debatable. But we have far less fall off after those 3 and just more to work with. So we should be able to execute a similar game plan or even better with getting the ball out quicker. We should be able to do what the Bengals did last year with a horrible offensive line, still creating crazy offense. Just getting the ball out to guys quicker. Because we got more guys to do it. So that's another game plan we could look at. Sorry, another bit of a tangent there. But I think we got a strong chance today of walking into Dallas's house, smacking them in the mouth, strong arming a dub, breaking out these All Blacks in, at the right time, refueling this classic rivalry in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect and some hate from the Clown Boys and their fans. As always, there's no better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back for some of the most opinionated, ice-cold calculated, long-winded, borderline Ocean's 11 bank heist level takes on all things Washington Commanders. Full-on gimmicks, schemed-out game plans that will probably be nothing like what shows up on field, but hey man, just for fun. Remember to hit that like button, ring that bell, and if you listen to me ramble out my fantasy game plan this long, I definitely love y'all. Happy Dallas Day. Peace.